Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War Mythic of the Archduke. It's in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP Dress drop table for all of this week, and they'll be in the drop table with everything else. So let's get into this strip. As far as what it does, it is pretty underwhelming and is probably worth skipping overall. It's a brown, red, blue. As far as what it does, it's kind of like a Iron Gut that is worse in every possible way. Basically a magic-based Iron Gut in a sense. So he does have an interesting mechanic in that his amount of damage is a little bit weird. It's a 1.5 times multiplier. There's 0.5 and there's 2 times, and of course a lot of 1 times 1s that just do a 1-to-1 ratio based on their magic. However, I believe this is the first troop that actually have a 1.5, a little bit of a weird number for it, but 1.5 times his magic plus 7 is the amount of damage that it does, and then there's a percent chance equal to its magic that it ends up killing out the enemy outright. This will be pretty weird, given that if you already have a really high magic, you're probably going to be killing anyways, and you need such a high magic for it to actually be able to get the instant kill. One interesting thing about this, though, is it does count as instant kill and not as Devour or something, so you don't have to worry about immunities, if nothing else, which is probably the only benefit it has compared to something like Iron Gut, where Iron Gut, of course, needs to make sure they're not immune to Devour or curse them to make sure they're not immune, whereas this will kill absolutely everything except that one indestructible trait. But other than that, it also gets to summon a very useless troop whenever it gets a kill, which is very unfortunate because if it gained magic or something else that was actually useful for getting a kill, it might actually not be that bad, but its kill condition, or when it gets a kill, doesn't really get much in return. Aside from that, its traits are also extremely underwhelming. All it really has is basically some 25% score reflect, and it also gets a little bit extra magic per turn. You could stack this with a little bit of other magic gains and get it a little bit higher per turn, but overall it's not really that much magic relative to how much he needs, given that of course he needs 100 magic in order to get a insta-kill. Also, this troop is extremely useless when webbed. It basically does absolutely nothing. It'll hit for 7 damage for 25 mana cost when webbed with a 0% chance to insta-kill. So this thing does basically nothing in that situation, since it doesn't have border control, doesn't have any kind of follow-up, doesn't have anythings. Its final trait doesn't even work because while you're webbed, you can't gain magic. So yeah, you web this thing, it'll do literally nothing. It's a very underwhelming, weak mythic. So overall, probably worth skipping. However, its most noteworthy thing is it is associated to Blighted Lands, and Blighted Lands is indeed a magic kingdom, so if you don't have a mythic here yet to go get 10-star, or you just want another troop to get it higher, might be worth considering for that purpose. But aside from that, you're pretty much not getting this thing for any reason other than for completionist sake, or to get additional magic for Blighted Lands, which technically makes it a little bit useful if getting it is the difference between having 1 magic and not having 1 magic, or multiple if it happens to go that far. But anyways, let's go do a key opening to go get this thing, and then briefly go over a couple teams, and just mess around with it. So let's see if we can get it, hopefully very quickly. Ideally, we're starting with like, what, 1,700 keys or so, which generally 1,000's about enough, though sometimes it could take longer, sometimes it's shorter. Hopefully it'll be towards the shorter side. Hopefully we won't even break under 1,000. Start getting a surplus again for once. Overall, nothing yet. Just a bunch of random legends. And of course, we already all have max, so I don't actually need them at the moment. Actually, is there any? I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any legend we still need to get up. Not at the moment. Too bad there's not a small orb chance or something else. There's nothing we need except for that mythic, which is in there somewheres. And of course we're doing at 50 at a time just to not waste as many keys for when we finally do get it. And of course Spring Imp is in drop table right now. Actually, I believe this is the last mythic to get Spring Imp, if you're looking to get it coinciding with a mythic. So do be wary of that if you want to get it. It does a 4 times entangle to the enemy team. Overall, it's okay. It's nothing like too special, but it is only available last month and this month as far as the key drop table is concerned. So if you do want to get Spring Imp, now would be a good time to do so. Also, there it is. I was going to say, how bad a luck are we going to get? There we go. There's the useless mythic. Let's go upgrade it and go mess around with it. But it took like, what, 1,500? I already forgot how many we said we started with. It was about 1,500. Somewhere's around there. So a little unlucky on it, but overall, not too bad. Anyways, let's go and get this thing upgraded and go plop it into the team. So, of course, it is a mythic, so might as well use the orbs, since if there was any time to use orbs to try to save a little bit of resources, it would be now. So throw this in, throw the green. Make sure not to accidentally click the power. That would be ridiculously bad. I'm not even sure if it has a warning for using the power. They sure need to add one if it doesn't. But anyways, we do all that. Obviously, you can't metal it because it's a mythic, which costs way too much to go metal. And let's go get the Archduke into the 3 teams and then go mess with the teams. Where are you at? And we just use War as a placeholder, which in a sense almost does do basically a better ability than him. It doesn't have the instant kill aspect, but this thing is very rarely going to instant kill. So obviously, if you're using this thing, you're going to mostly be wanting to use it with 20% mana start because the daemons don't really have a good way of getting up. And I believe it's daemon only. Into 8 magic or simply going 12 magic, whichever way you want to go. Really depends on your team. We're going 20% into 8 magic for all these. Let's to make sure it gets rolling a little bit quicker. Ooh, a really annoying team. Let's do it on stuff that is slightly less annoying so we can actually show stuff. Why does every single person in the entirety of PvP have the most annoying thing set? Every single one, with like almost no exception. I want something a little bit tamer. Also, everyone has rope dart now. Every single team is a rope dart team because rope dart's available this week. I don't know. Do we fight the loop team? I do have one that has freeze on it. So it's not the one I wanted to show for. Fine, let's go with this. And hope Graveseer doesn't go crazy. Anyways, let's start from the top. So, as far as our first team, we're going with a Vispera kind of build here. It does use a bit of a weird weapon, the Symbol of Anu. Symbol of Anu, if you don't have it, is actually available next week. And of course, this Mythic will be available for a week long. So you will be able to simultaneously get this weapon and the Mythic next week, which is one of the main reasons why we're using it, since it actually is a bit more accessible than it normally would be. So he's going to go for green to purple here. It's not going to do too much, luckily. I also can't really set up into making it do anything for us. We'll gain a little bit of mana, but I don't think we gain a single 4-type. Actually, yes, we do. So we do have Cleanse as well. One nice thing, of course, about the Beatrix there, which is we're mostly using almost entirely for its Cleanse, mostly as an anti-freeze aspect, which is pretty good against things that do have freeze, like the Sun Spear. They're luckily not a perpetual one. Unfortunately, a bit of a slow start, but once we get it going, main reason for Vispera, of course, is the fact that she does have... Oh, we got the Zugoff already. No, what will he kill? Will he kill the Mythic? He will kill the Mythic. That's exactly why I didn't want to go against the Zugoff. Obviously, this Mythic is completely useless, so it's kind of hard to show it. Well, here we go. We have a much weaker team here. Okay, let's try this again. So, of course, the main purpose of Vispera is it does have random stat gain, and random stat gain does mean magic gain, and magic gain means it can actually go insta-kill. But this thing's so pointless to pretty much give extra magic to, mostly because, even though that's kind of the intended way of using it, compared to other things that could gain extra magic, it would use it so much better. So like right here, we're about to hit for 91, and then we'll have the insta-kill. Oddly enough, 91 is actually enough damage to kill everything in this battle. However, it would also have the 50-something% chance to have the insta-kill. And of course, it said no target there because it's trying to do a summon, which it can't summon because we don't have any space left on our team for it. And then, of course, we could do the drain off of this, get the mana, ideally not completely miss with it, and then kind of just go from there. But yeah, and scaling's a little bit interesting with 1.5 times. It's still not enough to like consistently get a kill. Well, it's definitely a bit different, that is for sure. And then we can go for the Vispera, get the magic buff, and then boom. At this point, with a 98 magic, it would pretty much have an almost guaranteed chance to insta-kill. After next turn, it would have a guaranteed chance, meaning for 25 mana cost, you could insta-kill one at a time, which is obviously very slow. You could do that with Fairish Ra, you could do that with Zugoff, you could do that with Iron Gut. There's really no need to do all of this just to have an insta-kill, when there are so many other options, not to mention all the AoE options that if you would have given magic instead, would have been able to kill pretty much the entire enemy team simultaneously, rather than one at a time. Anyways, let's do the low faction one next. So this one is the super ultra cheap one. It is also faction accessible, as far as depending on what the color restriction is. Obviously, you might have to change it up. Like if you're on blue restriction and you don't have like brown or yellow, you might have to go and not use monk and use something else instead, and vice versa. But basically, the premise here is we at least ideally have access to blue, and then you can do Apothecary into the Archduke, use Mang as your first slot in order to have just a solid tank. and then just use something else for support, depending on what the secondary color is for the faction. So something nice and cheap, and obviously this could be used outside of factions. But everything here is super easy to get. Mang you get automatically, Apothecary is an ultra rare, and Dragonian Monk is a ultra rare. You can also use Cockatrice instead, but we're using the barrier since, in a delve sense, that generally is a little bit better just to make sure everything on your team stays alive. The Mythic and the Mang likely would, but the other two are normally a little bit more of the liability, and you do want them staying alive in something like a dungeon, since they will help you mana accumulate, of course, and it would be relatively slow without them. But anyways, let's go do this. Hopefully he will not get a good summer on us, which he probably will, especially since we're actually using Apothecary, which that brown counter is going to be a little bit annoying, given that we kind of need those browns. Let's see, which one do I want? I guess we'll take this one. So grab that, get that. Do not have a good follow-up. He has a gigantic take over there that we cannot stop. He might get skull distracted here, so I'm just going to go for it. Unfortunately, there's now 2 locations where he's just basically going to gain all the mana in the world. Luckily, Mang actually does have enough damage to kill here, so I'm just going to go for that just to get it out of the way. And hopefully we can get some mana flowing to get this rolling. Obviously, with Dragonian Monk, one thing that we can opt for, of course, is a 4 times barrier, which I guess we'll go do. We'll do that to get the red to cascade over there. X is a little bit weird to end up using. As where you end up targeting. It's such a weird mechanic, but you can do some pretty interesting things with it that you can't do with other stuff, like how we took the red there. But anyways, we have a 59% chance to insta-kill here, so we'll go for it. We'll hit. It does not hit, which is generally going to be the case. The amount of time it takes for him to actually have enough magic to insta-kill is so long that you're never going to use this mythic in a single instance, pretty much ever. One interesting interaction this does have, though, I'm not sure if we're going to roll it here, is it technically does allow you to hit through a barrier as well. Not only is it 2 hits, but insta-kill just in general does hit through a barrier. So if we were to hit this 62%, he would die. Unfortunately, we did not hit the 62% because, of course, we wouldn't. We'll try to get at least one insta-kill. I don't think we've gotten a single one yet, which is pretty much this mythic in a nutshell. How useless it is, but we'll go for that. Try it again. Okay, if we don't get it this time, we're not getting it probably this video. 68%. Nope. It just does not want to insta-kill. It really does not want to do anything of value. It's basically like Gargantar or Shade of Zorn. Like, it's that level of, like, D or F tier mythic. It is very bad. Not sure why they keep making mythics like this. This is like the third? Yeah, it's technically third, if you count it as, like, the Gargantar Shade of Zorn category. There's another one that kind of like it, but at least it does AoE, if nothing else. But, yeah, it's pretty bad. But let's go show the last team. So, last team, a little bit more of a AoE option, just so that we could poke it down and then have him kill, because I had a feeling he would struggle to get his insta-kills, and guess what? He is! So in those kind of situations, you can go down a setup where you basically help set up the insta-kill, so that you could just kill it with its normal 1.5 times additional damage, rather than needing to depend on the specific insta-kill proc in order to do it. Though we might need the insta-kill proc to go kill Hero with Barrier. Also, we get to use this new guy. Well, somewhat new. I don't feel like I've used him that much, even though he's a really good option. If you haven't been utilizing Arcturian, definitely worth considering. It's relatively low rarity. It's epic. And has 65% score reduction into quite a bit of brown creation. So, and also gets a free freeze. So, overall, it's not too bad. I don't feel like I've really been utilizing it enough. It's not like the best thing out there, but it's pretty solid. Okay, we need Thrall so badly right now, so we'll go get Thrall. Obviously, we're using Thrall's mana accumulation, as it tends to be used. We'll go do that, get everything rolling, and hopefully should be good to go from here. So, we have a 67% chance to end up getting the insta-kill here. Hopefully, we can actually end up getting it for the first time. Please. I know you have the capability of doing so. We will see it. At this rate, we might just have to wait till he gets 100 magic, just so we can see it. Please, kill the hero. There we go, finally! So as you saw, he hit through barrier there, which is what insta-kill does, of course. It also doesn't need to worry about if they have immune to Devour, which I completely forget whatever class that was using has it, but I'm pretty sure it did have immune to Devour. But it doesn't matter because it's not Devour, it's insta-kill. So it does get to hit through barrier, it does get to ignore most immunities other than the ones that are obviously immune to insta-kill. It doesn't get to do anything against. But, I actually want to do this. It might seem a little bit weird doing that, however, it's its only damage source, so for the sake of it not completely destroying us, probably the way to go. So, of course, we could feed Brown just directly into that, and then go from there. take a throw here just so we can get it rolling again. Hopefully go for another insta-kill. If nothing else, the longer this battle goes, the higher the chance will be that he will just insta-kill everything. And, of course, it still revives. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a weird double mechanic where it could end up killing the thing that revives. There used to be some glitches back in the day that allowed for that to happen. But, unfortunately, the Mythic isn't glitched in that way, which would actually make it a little bit more useful. But one nice thing about this, too, is spell reduction. Oh, never mind, it's stunned. But let's pretend it wasn't stunned. Of course, insta-kill would hit through spell reduction as well, in the sense that if the normal damage wasn't enough, the instant kill would be. So, yeah, just have a few gimmicks like that, but overall, it's not worth using. Compared to Gargantar and Shade of Zorn, it's probably better than both of them. However, that's a super ridiculously low bar, and it is ever so barely better than them. But still to a degree where you're basically never going to use this troop. If you're getting this troop, it is pretty much as mentioned before, simply to get Blighted Lands upgraded to 10-star, 20-star, or simply just to have another Blighted Lands troop. It is a magic-based kingdom, so having extra stars there is, of course, pretty important. And the other mythic that's available there, Amnesia, is pretty bad as well. Not as bad as this one. I would say Amnesia is slightly better, though both of them are pretty down there as far as mythics are concerned. So definitely not a bad idea to pick this up for upgrading purposes for the kingdom, if nothing else. Permanent magic or permanent 2 magic is obviously pretty good. But aside from that, yeah, this mythic is really useless. Even as like a Zugoth alternative, it's not going to be good enough to do so. You're better off just running AoE or just run Mang and just tank it up like crazy, or pretty much any other option that isn't this mythic. It's basically just going to become dead contents that'll basically go unused, unfortunately. But that is the mythic. We'll see if it ever gets a buff. They haven't really rebalanced a lot of mythics for a while, all the weaker ones, but you never know. But anyways, that's the mythic. It'll be available for the next week in Glory Gem Guild and VIP Chest. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. All the teams that went over in this video are in the description as well if you want to use them for whatever reason. If any of them, you might as well use the faction one. The faction one wouldn't be horrible, if nothing else, if you had this as like a newer player. But aside from that, I don't really foresee any other instance where it would really end up getting used. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching and have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye, everyone.